You're tuned in to RBLR, the home of Tampa Bay's RBLR Sports.
4 seconds left. In front. Happy moment. The Tampa Bay Lightning have won the first Stanley Cup. And the Tampa Bay Lightning have won the Stanley Cup. Lightning strikes twice. The Tampa Bay Lightning win their second straight Stanley Cup.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to RBLR Lightning. As always, my name is Jake Ricker. Alongside me, it's Joe Zinataro, it's Matt Gannon. Guys, welcome back to the show for another week to talk about your best in the league, dare I say, Tampa Bay Lightning. Boys, what an amazing week it has been. The Lightning are the hottest team in the NHL right now. Can't wait to get in it all. Thank you, everybody, tuning in with us live here once again. A little pregame show. But before we get into it all, guys, first and foremost, how you doing today?
Doing great. Actually, I was like, what are you talking about? Best in the league. And I thought, yeah, we beat the Avs. We're on a huge win streak. Damn, you're on to something, man. Feels good.
To be the best, you have to beat the best, and that's exactly what they did this week. Jake, I love the energy you're flying in with today. I think the boys are buzzing, and you are buzzing today, so let's keep this energy up.
Absolutely. And yes, technically by points, they are not currently the best in the league, but it sure feels like that with the way they have been playing. I mean, they've been doing unbelievably well. And we're going to get into it all. Some game recaps here. We'll talk a little bit, we'll do our 3 stars of the week, talk about what's coming up for the Bolts, and get into the game they'll be playing tonight against the Pittsburgh Penguins. We'll get you all out of here too before that game starts, because I know we all want to watch as they continue to look for 11 in a row. And boy, what a feat that would be able to do if they're able to accomplish it. But again, welcome everybody and join us live. Don't forget, drop your comments down below. Still want to hear from you guys as always. Appreciate you guys joining in. And if you're missing this episode live, don't forget to follow us on social media at RBLR Sports, at RBLR Lightning, so you don't miss out when we do go live. All right, let's talk about this first game. And this is the big one, right? Because, Joe, you mentioned it, to be the best, you got to beat the best, right? And that was the Colorado Avalanche, who at the time only had 3. Was it 3 or 2? Because they're now at 4.
It was 3 because they had just lost to the Panthers 2 nights before. And, they still, at this point, only have 4.
So only 3 regulation losses coming into this game against the Bolts. We knew this was going to be a big one. Circled on your calendars, and the Lightning come out and they win it by a final score of 4-2 in regulation and hand the Colorado Avalanche their 4th regulation loss of the season. Quite honestly, this was a really nice game played by the Bolts. You got off to the early nice start on the power play goal by Jake Guentzel in the first period. Avs pushed back in the second period. You're starting to think, oh boy, here comes that bad second period Lightning that we've talked about before. But Girgensons ties it up late in the second period. And then the Lightning really controlled that third period. Brandon Hagel is the one that gets the game-winning goal. Sorelli with the empty netter. And they get the 4-2 win. But boy, did this one feel good. It was a fun game, back and forth action on both sides. But for the Lightning to come away with the win against the best team in the NHL points-wise, it was really on a unbelievable run right now. That's always a huge victory.
And they did it without starting plays with possession of the puck. Apparently, they wanted to give the edge to Colorado with every single face-off draw, because they were only 30.9% in their draws, which when you're playing a team as good as the Avs, geez, guys, I mean, whatever you have to do, tie the guy's stick up and then just have 4 people bum rush the circle, get possession of that puck, because the Avalanche are an amazing team when they control play and they have possession. And the Lightning were able to do really well to, despite, that, come away with more puck time than I thought that they would honestly get. And, geez, considering who we have on D, the guys played great, man. They played outstanding.
It was a great game all around, and it's hard to say that going against the 2025-26 Avalanche. I remember, the 2019 Bolts, like every team, even if they were the second best team in the league, feared playing those guys, and you just didn't even get a sense of that this game. Like everybody seemed ready to play, woke up on time, and just looked as good as they could. And yeah, it wasn't a perfect game, but for pretty much the entire game, they looked like the better team. And, they did shut down Nathan McKinnon. They did kind of embarrass Cale Makar, who's, as good offensively. He's great defensively as well. And Zemgus Girgensons and Brandon Hagel embarrassing Cale Makar, multiple points in this game as well. So it was just a great game all around. And again, shutting McKinnon down was a huge one. He had no 5-on-5 shots in this game at all. He did have some 6-on-5 and some power play shots, but to limit his scoring chances at even strength just shows that you can lock these top opponents down, and everyone just was ready to play this game. And one interesting thing, you brought up the faceoffs, and yeah, it was a rough start. I heard this from Greg Linnelli. In games where the Lightning are sub 40% in the faceoffs, they're undefeated, which is a really weird stat. Yeah. So maybe it's not as big of an issue as we're making it, but under 40, it definitely is, but under 40% undefeated, which is just one of the craziest stats I've heard.
I almost
that
can't
goes up there with
that.
one of the craziest stats I've ever heard, for sure.
That's unbelievable. I did not know that, Matt. Thank you for sharing. Can we talk about that game time goal, by the way, for Girgensons, by the way, who's been on an absolute tear as of late. He's been playing really well, but just an unbelievable, an unbelievable play by Girgensons, who spun around, arguably the best defender in the NHL, and just beat him and put his stick down. Gord made a great pass to tie that game. That's a huge, huge goal and a great play by that line.
He's been rejuvenated, man. He's been completely rejuvenated with the line that he's been on, fighting to the front of the net. And then, I'm watching the replay right now, actually, just to get a refresher. Yeah, he's got Makar all over him, and he finds a way to out-muscle him, beat him to the front. And that's the gritty stuff that we saw in the 2 cup runs, actually all 3 cup runs that we had, where you get guys on lower lines. Just nasty plays in front to get the goal. That's exactly what the team needs to be a real contender.
And a great example of that fourth line being in sync with each other too. Like, you can have a bunch of guys playing well individually, but with Gord snapping that pass over to Girgensons at the perfect time, he gets himself in a perfect position and gets the leverage on Makar. And it just shows that, they have chemistry built up. And both those guys have been in a bit of an offensive slump throughout the month of December. But as we'll get to it, both of those guys got on the board this week, and they needed that. And it's not like they've been playing bad either. Like, you throw that line out there against anyone, and I trust them. You might not get a goal, but I'm glad both of them got rewarded with points and assists in these next couple games.
Power play also goes 1 for 2, so good to see that they were able to capitalize on the excuse me, my voice is not cooperating with me right now. Good to see that they got on the board in that too, in a limited opportunity like you might see in a type of playoff game. I do want to get to a comment here that I almost missed. I should have brought this up earlier, but I have to bring it up now because it's too hilarious, from Ethan, by the way, who said he gets to watch the best host in the world. Thank you, Ethan. The easiest fantasy opponent, which he specified with Matt and Mucho Hatman. That might be a top tier comment right there, Ethan. Very, very well done. So we appreciate it.
Pin that.
Daniel.
Wait, actually, no, don't do it. He was talking bad about my fantasy.
The bottom 2 lines seem to be playing really well together. Almost makes you think a top 6 board is really the only need at the deadline right now for the Bolts. I mean, I would tend to partially agree with that because they have been playing extremely well. And when you're on a 10-game winning streak, 8 games at the time of this win, you don't want to change much. Now, I know the Lightning have learned the hard way. You do need to always try to add at the deadline, but there's a lot that's really, really good right now.
Yeah. Well, do you think that was a good time to actually talk a little bit of news since, bringing up the roster and changes and stuff? Obviously, if you're watching this, you already know that Pointer got injured. So, with big news with him and the updates in terms of how he's doing and kind of the future of the team, it's going to be an important issue coming up here.
I mean, at least he's only week to week, coming out from, who said it? John Cooper said it. So he avoided serious injury. I was speculating ACL maybe. That seems to be the current bug going around in sports right now. It seems like everyone's leaving with an ACL injury. But, I'm glad that it's not as bad as what it was. But I'm not going to say, I was galaxy braining for a bit, going back to Daniel's comment about another top 6 forward. If Braden Point was out for a while or even the season, I was thinking something kind of fun. Artemi Panarin.
Oh boy, that would be fun. That's for sure.
But fortunately, I don't think we're going to have the opportunity to get him. I don't know what you would give up for him, and it seems like Braden Point is going to be coming back, and there's just no way you'd be able to make that work. So we're in a fortunate situation, I guess.
He's been heating up too, so there's definitely a guy you want to have in the lineup. We'll talk about his playing his next two games in just a minute. It definitely looked a lot worse than it sounds like it was. I was fearing the worst, just like you, Matt, thinking he might be out for the season because he did not put any pressure on that leg coming off the ice. Had to be helped down the tunnel too. So it definitely looked really bad. But Cooper's saying that it's week to week and avoided the worst. Here's the one thing I'm going to say about the injury though. Please do not bring him back until he is 110%. We've had way too many guys come back this year and get hurt again and go out longer. Guys like Victor Hedman is a prime example. Ryan McDonough too, even. So
I'm glad you're bringing that up too, because he is slotted to be in the Olympics and he's week to week, and it's still not, they're probably not sure if he can make it to the Olympics. And I think maybe the same thing with Victor Hedman, who might be a little closer along in his timeline of getting back in the ice. I pray they don't rush these guys. If it means Braden Point doesn't get to play in the Olympics, don't rush him.
And I know that's going to be a tough conversation for those trainers, telling those guys, hey, you probably should. And you also have the outdoor game coming up here in Tampa on February 1st. We can't forget about that. I know those guys are going to play in those games. And if you're week to week, you might be able to still get a point back in time for that. But you cannot rush it. We've seen it too many times already where guys have gotten rushed back and maybe a little bit too early and gotten hurt again and are out for even longer.
And it's in terms of the Olympics, it's you can basically even fly them out there and still have people that are backup where, they get on the ice a few times before they actually play any games. So, a last-minute scratch on that isn't that big of a deal for Team Canada. It does definitely suck that he wouldn't be able to play in the outdoor game. But I think rather than the ACL, I think it might be an MCL sort of injury. And that's a little bit of a weird one, too, because you can feel fine. It's just like a weird instability sort of thing that, if you don't, with the amount of force that they put through their legs, maybe they try it more often than not. But it's just kind of a strange one because it's really hard to know if you're 100% unless you do something freaky with it.
The bottom line is we got good news in that Point is not out for the season, which I think a lot of Bolts fans feared the worst when you saw that initial injury. But let's get back to some of these games and the way the Lightning played against the Flyers, where that Point injury did occur in the second game. But I had that weird situation of where it was 2 straight games against the Flyers. It was not in a back-to-back. They had a day off in between because NHL scheduling, who knows why. Really tough for Philly fans because you had the Bolts beat the Flyers twice and then the Eagles lost in their playoff game. So it wasn't a fun weekend for them. But anyway, Lightning, first game against Philly, they dominated this game. Final score 7-2. This never really even felt like a competitive game, guys. Bolts really ran away with it. Nikita Kucherov really shined in this one, racking up the points like there's no tomorrow, and the Bolts get their 10th win in a row.
I don't really have much to add. The Bolts just completely dominated this game, from start to finish, and wrapping in the second game, pretty much continued. It felt like the Flyers tried pushing back a little bit in that second game, especially with physicality, but they just were completely outclassed, and maybe it's just the Bolts also being high off of beating the number 1 team with the Avalanche, but they looked untouchable. They looked completely untouchable, and 7 goals on 23 shots. Ooh, that's brutal.
It's definitely a little bit of a surprise to me because the Flyers, they've been much better this season than they were the last couple. Defense has been their strong suit this season, and goaltending. Obviously, this game had Sam Ersson in it, and Dan Vladar, the other goalie. He's been red hot this season too. So it did come as a bit of a surprise to me with what's his name? Their new coach. He's real defensive minded, but even still, just poor goaltending sank them pretty quick. And just the Lightning taking every opportunity they can and striking with it. And back to Daniel's comment a few moments ago about maybe getting a top 6 forward. We did get one with Gage Gonsalves. He looks really good up on that top line, and it might be a little bit of ABB syndrome. You play good when you're getting those opportunities. I'm not saying he's anything like ABB, gives me the chills thinking that, but he's looked really good with Point and Kucherov, like not even just, getting tap-ins or anything like that. He's been making plays and setting the guys up as well. So definitely not the long-term or permanent option, but again, I think, the sky's the limit for this kid. His maybe not. The ceiling might be a little lower than the other two guys he's playing with, but he has been playing great with those guys. I hope it continues.
You said it, Joe, that both these games were very, very similar. And the scoreboard's a little bit different. Lightning only scored 5 goals in the second game compared to the 7 that they scored in the first one. I know. How dare they? But, the Flyers learned a little bit from that first game, played it a little bit better. But they really did. The Lightning just dominate this entire game. And the Flyers never had a chance at giving the Bolts a run for their money at any point. And they did get physical at some point. A couple of big notes when it comes to stats, though, from these two games, because Kucherov continued his multi-point streak in both of these Flyers games. He has tied Steven Stamkos for the longest streak by a Lightning player. It's also the longest multi-point streak by any active NHL player at 9 games. So he'll go for 10 tonight if he's able to get 2 more points and break the franchise record for the Bulls. So that really impressive stat in itself. He is playing on another level. Also, that second win for Philadelphia was win number 600 for John Cooper. That guy just an unbelievable pace in 1,005 career games. He was the second fastest coach in NHL history to hit 600 wins. Such an amazing accomplishment. Guys, he's on pace. I don't know if you know this. If he were to play as many games, I'm trying to remember who the coach is off the top of my head, but I'm blanking right now.
Al Arbor?
Yes, I believe it is Al Arbor. I'm going to double check real quick in a second.
What did you say again?
Al Arbor?
No, what's that?
If Cooper plays as many as the coach with the most wins in NHL history, he would surpass him. You have to play this coach the same amount of games, but that's the pace he's on. He is winning that many games right now.
All time. Yeah, all-timer right there. I mean, he's definitely going to be a guy that is going to end up in the Hall of Fame first ballot. And geez, he's young enough that could be like more than a decade from now if he continues enjoying the sport.
I'm glad we're bringing up Cooper too, because we've talked about it for years. It's always been, a topic of conversation, but this might be the year that he gets that Jack Adams. I know he doesn't really care or want it. I love his quote about, I don't really care that I've never won it. I've got, 2 rings on my finger. That's all that really matters to me. But this might be the year that he actually gets it, because everyone knows and everyone respects him as a coach. And, the Jack Adams has turned into the biggest overachiever award. But man, when you look at this season, just how injury riddled we have been and how also dominant we have been, especially in this, later part of the season, if they can finish strong, like as strong as they're playing right now, obviously you're not going to win out the season, but if you can, win the division and just be this dominant with this many injuries, like a laundry list, you have, I think you've played the most defensemen of any team in the league, and you're losing top 6 forwards and just everything that is and has happened and may still happen. This might be and should be the year he gets that elusive Jack Adams trophy.
No, we all know they'll never let him have it.
It's unfortunate. And by the way, the coach I was thinking of, it was not Al Arbor. It was Scotty Bowman.
Scotty Bowman.
The most wins in NHL history. He has 1244. Cooper is currently on pace, if he coaches the same amount of games as Bowman, to hit 1278. So, but Matt, you mentioned that, and I'm glad you brought it up, because I saw the NHL put an article out talking about how the NHL writers voted on who they thought the top 3 coaches for the Jack Adams Award would be. Of course, Colorado's at the top of the list right now because of their season, but this got me fired up. And Jay brought this up, Jay Retcher, that, when the Lightning were on this unbelievable run back in 2019, everybody said, no, Cooper's not going to win the Jack Adams. He shouldn't, because look how good this team is. He doesn't deserve that. But yet when Colorado's on an unbelievable run in the pace, that same argument doesn't apply anymore. And yet Cooper, as you just mentioned, Matt, facing all this adversity, doesn't get his name mentioned in the Jack Adams Award. It's just mind-boggling that this guy has not won one and is still not being talked about as a potential winner when he's faced all this adversity. And meanwhile, Colorado's facing no adversity, but their coach is right at the top of the list for the award. I don't understand it one bit.
You want some more ammunition to piss you off too? Boston, Jim Montgomery, who I think is a great coach, he won it in 2023 when Boston had their record-setting season. But when the Lightning do it, oh, they've got a super team. When Colorado does it, oh, great, wow, he's the best coach ever. When Boston does it, well, great, he's the best coach ever. I don't understand.
They added so many pieces over in Colorado too. I mean, that's just to add to like they have a super team over there.
It doesn't make sense
at all.
I want to get to the quick comment here too from Daniel. Let's go with this one here. Asking, do you think if Cooper's first job had been elsewhere, would he be a Hall of Fame coach? Or I don't know. I mean, it's hard to say because you just don't know where he would have potentially ended up.
Are we arguing that it's with the same record and the same result? Somehow it's the same result.
That's a good point, Daniel. If you could drop that in the comments on what you think. I mean, I would say yes. I think he's that good of a coach that he would have been able to get maybe not the same kind of record out of players because he has dealt with a lot of great. Nikita Kucherov, Steven Stamkos, and he helped coach a lot of those guys.
As I say, he brought up so many from the minors. So if it's a similar situation where he had a winning team that was in the minors with him, that he was then able to bring those elements over so that there was some of that experience and crossover. I don't see why. I mean, he's won at every level, man. He's a treasure.
And it's not the NHL Hall of Fame either. It's the Professional Hockey Hall of Fame. And, as kitschy as it was, the Four Nations tournament, he's a gold medalist for that. He's won in the AHL. And
he's won at every level he's coached.
Yeah, was the USHL, is that a professional league technically? It's professional hockey, not the NHL, and he has a chance to win gold at the Olympics. I mean, even if he doesn't do it, if he retired today after this Pittsburgh game, he's already in. I don't think it matters which team he's on. I think the reputation speaks for itself.
Oh, Dan replied.
He said, I don't think it would be the same.
So I'm assuming it's just a different organization where, he might not have the exact same support that he had with both ownership with the Lightning as well as having a few GMs that really facilitated building some teams. And that could be true. I mean, if you went to somewhere like, I don't know, who's someone that bobbles away everything that they have constantly. Like Ottawa's made a ton of really questionable choices over the years. I feel like Edmonton's a great way where they, get a first round pick that ends up not doing anything for them. So maybe if he didn't have the same opportunities here, he wouldn't get the same result, there. But like I said, he wins at every level. The dude's just a winner.
He is. And last comment here from Daniel on this topic saying, say his first job was Detroit where he wouldn't have had 5 future Hall of Famers, would he have been able to come up the longest tenured coach? I don't know, but I would say this. I don't want to take away from him that he's had all those Hall of Fame players coach for him because I think he's had a big impact on those players and their development to becoming those types of players. So I don't think it's fair to say that just because he's had so many great players here that with the Lightning, he wouldn't have been able to do that elsewhere. Maybe not to the same level. It's hard to say, but I think a lot of credit has to go to Cooper and what he's been able to do.
That's a pretty fair point, actually, because when you think about some of the antics that Kucherov has done over the years, being able to work with him, I'm not going to say control him, but rein him in at times, bench him. I wonder how many other coaches would be able to bench and not get like a negative reaction out of Kucherov.
I think it's because he's such, a player's guy too. Like he's not the X's and O's coach. He's not, the one that's always dialing up schemes and making plays or whatever it is. Like he's such a guy's guy, and who knows what goes on behind closed doors. But it seems like all his players for what's it been 13 years now have just always rallied around him. Like he's as big of a face of the team as Nikita Kucherov or Steven Stamkos. Like John Cooper is arguably one of the faces of the franchise, and the guys just always get around him. He might have that same effect elsewhere. I hope we never have to see that, or if it happens, I hope he does have success elsewhere. But I do think it might not lead to. it might not lead to, triple Stanley Cup appearances or, 4 in a 10-year span, or like a 7-year span. But I still think he'd have a similar effect elsewhere, maybe not the same.
He's also constantly voted as the coach that most players would want to play for in the Players Association polls that they do at the end of the year. So, take that for what you will. Bottom line, John Cooper is an unbelievable head coach. And for me, he has an unlimited contract here in Tampa Bay until he wants to retire. And that's the only way I'd like to see him leave. But Lightning, as of right now, he's got them rolling. Lightning have won 10 straight games. They played a fantastic week. Let's quickly here get to our 3 stars of the week. You really could have picked anybody on the team at this rate with the way these guys have been playing. But, guys, we came up, I think, with a pretty good list and 3 guys that really did stand out this week. Starting off with our 3rd star of the week, the bagel shop has been open even on the road. That's Brandon Hagel. He had another unbelievable week, scoring some big goals against Philly. He's just such a fun player every time you watch him on the ice. 3 goals, 2 assists for 5 points, and was a +5. Great stuff from Hagel.
Even got a power play goal. You remember how hard that was to come by last season. So I think he's got a couple on this season as well. He was, he plays on that second unit. I know he was filling in for Braden Point in that last Flyers game as well. But, man, just good to see him, just picking up where he leaves off. He's not streaky. He's consistent. And he's got goals in 4 or 5 straight games?
Goals in 4 straight games, points in 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep, 6.
We pay him $6.5 million a year for the next 6 years. That's crazy.
So good.
And people need to start putting respect on his name for the Selke. I know he's a winger and they get overlooked, but man, he is a Selke favorite for me right now.
He's right now a +25 on the season.
Oh, is that it?
That's it. That's pretty solid for a guy that's playing the way that he does. And since since the new year, he's a +2. He's an even +2, +1, he's +7 since the January has started, and we're not even halfway through it. He's playing an outstanding game.
Speaking of guys who probably should be winning some awards this year, that should be up for it at least. Let's go to our number 2 star of the week. This guy, unbelievable the way he's played since he came back after battling in and out of the lineup. That's Darren Raddysh. He gets number 2 star of the week. Guys, unbelievable. 5 assists for 5 points and was a +7 this week. I mean, who is this man? And what did he do with Darren Raddysh? Because it's an unbelievable run that he continues to be on.
Hey, Team Canada, I heard you're missing a right shot skater. I know he's a defenseman, but it's still not too late to take him off the snub list. He's an offensive-minded guy. He can fill in for Braden Point just fine. Seriously, take him. But no, I love what you said, Jake. Who is this guy? Who is he transformed into? And it's not even the 5 assists that he put up this week either. He is playing and has been playing some great defense too. I don't know if you guys caught it in the second Flyers game, but he had an amazing
the back check
on Owen Tippett's breakaway. That was just chef's kiss. He has been playing amazing. I've never flip-flopped so hard on a single player in my life. Like it's truly amazing what he's been able to do, just in my opinion, in and of itself. So what a player. He needs to continue this. I really hope he does. I'm glad he's taking this opportunity and just making a name for himself, and going to make himself millions too.
Yeah, I mean, when I point him out as being a better player than he's getting credit for a couple years ago, I didn't think that the ceiling would be this high. I honestly had no idea. And with with this week's worth of points, he has exceeded his career high for a season, just past the halfway point. So he's at 39 points, and he only has actually 21 penalty minutes, which is kind of surprising given how many minutes he averages. 21, a little over 20, almost 22 minutes a game, that's big boy numbers when you're playing defense and you're on the ice that much. So I don't know, man. Whatever he's having, I'll have one too, because it's working for him.
And I think even 5 of those penalty minutes is a fight in there, maybe 1 or 2 fights. So
It's about the only way you can get an odd number. So
love seeing the odd number penalty minutes rack up. You always know that's a guy willing to chuck them, and he's not a fighter by any stretch. He's not a hitter by any stretch, but man, he's had a couple big hits and a couple nice fights. Like he's just he fits the bill so well for this team. Maybe not a fighter, not a hitter, but he will when he needs to.
Unbelievable stuff from Darren Raddysh. He gets the number 2 star of the week. And the only reason he's not getting number 1 is because one guy was very upset that we took the name of Nikita Kucherov's 3 stars of the week away. And he's like, I want my list back. So he's back once again, the number 1 star of the week, Nikita Kucherov, 3 goals, 5 assists for 8 points, and was a +5. We talked about the multi-point streak that he's on right now, trying to break Steven Stamkos' record, tied it with the game against Philly. Man, he is just on an unbelievable heater right now, and who knows when it's going to stop.
I wish we can go back to one of our earlier podcasts when he wasn't doing too well. He was like, I remember making a kind of a cheeky comment that he was entering Steven Stamkos territory for his plus-minus. I think that was in like sometime in like November, and now he's plus 23.
What?
Like, how do you have that big of a turnaround? He was in points, he was like not even the top 25 of points coming into December. Now he holds 4th place by himself. He's 3 points off of 3rd. Obviously,
go ahead, Joe. Say how many points he has.
He's got 67 points. Oh, Jesus.
All right, so he's going to go for
I to be fair, I walked into that one completely blindly there. Jeez. Yeah. All right. So
end the show.
Yeah. So he's 14 off of McKinnon, who's obviously him and McDavid are having quite a competition for points leads and unreal seasons. But all of a sudden, here comes Kucherov with freaking 4-point games. On the regular. On the regular? Are you kidding me?
Yeah, it's not just a point streak we're looking at. It is a multi-point streak we're looking at. Like if he's, scoring 2-3 points per game, even a 5-point game shuffled in there as well. Of course, he's going to rocket up the standings every year, it seems, especially the last couple of years. He's given McKinnon, McDavid a little bit of a head start in the points race, and then he just comes flying up this time of year, especially late in the year as well when he really decides to turn it on. And that's the thing with Nikita Kucherov is it's when he decides to turn it on, but when he does decide, he's the guy we all know and fear, Nikita Kucherov. So just running out of words to say. It's been 3-4 years of this the star segment. I don't know what else he can do to impress me, but he keeps doing it every single week.
I'm sure he'll find a way. One guy who he's not kind of impressing right now, I guess a little bit, is Daniel. He says the point streak's ending tonight because they struggle against Pittsburgh a little bit. Yeah, come on, let's get some positive energy out of you for once. I don't know. I think it's gonna maybe not the multi-point streak, but
perfect transition into the road ahead.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I brought it up because the Lightning obviously taking on Pittsburgh tonight. We're getting close to game time here, probably another 10, 15 minutes because the NHL can never start on time. But here's a quick look at the road ahead for the Bolts playing Pittsburgh tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern. Then they'll have 2 days off. They'll actually come back to Tampa, by the way. We found that out because of the point injury. Before heading back out to St. Louis, that game at 8 p.m. Eastern. And then they will play the Dallas Stars on January 18th. That is on a Sunday at 2 p.m. Eastern. So a midday game. Then they'll be back for a home game, finally, after what's been a long road trip for the boys right now.
I'm going to jinx them. I'm going to do it. But, man, if they can pull out a win tonight and match the franchise record for wins, you got St. Louis to beat that record. So it looks pretty easy to get that accomplishment done. Again, they do struggle against Pittsburgh for whatever reason. It seems they struggle more at home against Pittsburgh, but hopefully, they just lost Erik Karlsson and they've been kind of on a little bit of up and down, mostly downward slope. Hopefully they can get that done. In St. Louis, they don't know which way they're going. In Dallas, even them, they've been a little shaky recently, so they might even have a chance to get this to 13 straight wins. So that would be great. Again, everyone in the Atlantic right now, or not everyone, but like Toronto, Florida, Buffalo, Detroit, Montreal, pretty much everyone but Ottawa is really just winning and winning and winning and winning. So this streak is coming at a great time, and I really pray that they can keep it up and sweep the state of Pennsylvania. You got the Eagles and the Steelers losses there, back-to-back Flyers losses. Cap it off with the Penguins loss.
We might have to put Philadelphia on watch.
It's a big one tonight. It's that back-to-back game, like you said. Looking forward to see what happens. Hopefully, we get an extension of both point streaks from Kucherov and wins for the Lightning.
I'm not worried about any other team that they're playing. It doesn't matter what they're doing at this state. As long as the Lightning play their game, they're going to have a chance to win. That's how good that they have been playing. They can beat anybody. Put Colorado on the schedule for the next 3 times. I think they can do it. That's how good they have been. But
what's going on just real quick with these West Coast games all of a sudden being at like weird times, man?
What time's the Dallas game?
It's at 2 p.m.
What the hell? Wait, is that on a Saturday or Sunday?
It's a Sunday. Sunday.
No, I don't, Jake.
Sunday at 2 is just it's another strange time. I'm not complaining, but it's unusual, and I kind of like it.
See, I'm complaining because that's always when I'm at work, so it's difficult to do both.
Joe, it's the NHL. You never know what these guys are going to do. There's no explanation for it. Luckily, it's benefiting us a little bit right now because, like you said, that not Matt, but at least you're not these late games on the West Coast. But
Eureka had a good point with the NFL playoffs. It maybe it doesn't interfere as much.
Fair, yeah.
That is true, and I'm shocked that they would actually do that because they're usually really bad at that, even still.
I wonder who makes the NHL schedule, because obviously they wanted to get the Lightning killed, putting them in Philadelphia on the day that the Eagles lose in the first round. Like, they want the Lightning to get jumped or something. That's just it's cruel, really.
Well, wait a minute. Sunday, so that game's on Sunday in Dallas at 2 p.m. Eastern. Is there not a game like right at that NFL game right at that time against Dallas? That's the 18th. There's a game at 3 o'clock. So
start them later as the teams dwindle down.
There's a game at 3 o'clock on that day in the NFL, which I guess is right up against it. I guess it is in front. But bottom line is, right now we got a game to get to. Lightning taking on the Pittsburgh Penguins in the matter of minutes. So I'm going to let you guys all get ready to watch that game. I know we're going to get on to watching it. So thank you to everybody again for tuning in here. Hopefully the Lightning can continue this unbelievable win streak. 10 right now. Let's go make it 11, boys. But with that said, that's going to do it for us in the episode. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you guys in the next one. Go Bolts.
Thank you for tuning into this presentation by RBLR Sports. On your way out of the stadium, please remember to like and subscribe.